Hi everyone, my name's Donkey, and today we're back on the RTS project. So the order has got a little bit muddled up this week because obviously today's a Friday, which would normally be a feedback, but I did that on Tuesday for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, now we're doing RTS today, just this week. We'll go back to normal next week. So in the last video we came up with these buttons here, and they do kind of work. They've got nothing on them, but they're there for certain. And each one does correlate to one of our instances. So what we should be able to do is split them apart by clicking on one of these. But at the moment, you click on it and it does that. It just kind of goes and doesn't do anything because it thinks you're making a box. Yeah, if you do that. So what we need to do is turn it into a button that works like this and not. Although I think that one you can do, but we don't want to do that. So we need to make it specifically a little bit different, so a little bit like the spawning a new unit button. And the way we can do this is if we go into the overlay, and here, this is where we check whether we want to count it or not. So here, if we do an else if, and we can do our within range thing, I'll just close it off for the time being. And then in the else, that's when we draw our little boxes. So this is saying if we're pressing on the button, and this is also going to be another button, otherwise we can draw our boxes like normal. So for the next bit, there's kind of two ways we could go around this. It's a little bit tricky because we've got our varying like height, widths and stuff, so it keeps moving along the bottom. So we could do it so it's specific for each one. For the moment though, I think we're just going to stick with having the whole bottom bit like designated to these buttons. I think that makes sense. You could even make like a fancy border to go around, and that would work quite well, I think. So anyway, what we've got here is we need to kind of ignore the X ones. They don't really matter, but the ones that are important are the Y. So really we want to keep that whole bottom bit off, I think. So let's go with the one that will be further down, which would be this. No, the one that's further up. So let's go with this one, which is Y1, and we just copy that. So that's going to be our upper bound for the Y. The lower bound is just going to be the UH port, I think. So in the SEP event here, we can use our script here. Script is between. I have to call it twice, but so script is between, and the lower bound, or just anything, because the script works either way. We can just copy this in, and the up bound is going to be just our UH port. So that will effectively just check if our mouse, and we need to put mouse Y here as well. We need to check if our mouse Y is kind of in that range. So that range there that we've given that's going to pick it slightly up off the bottom. So if our screen is like this box here, it's going to be about here, and the view H port is just how far down it is, so that's going to be right at the bottom. So it's going to take this whole area along the bottom and just designate it to the buttons, and so we can't draw our boxes there. Don't really think you'd want to draw your boxes there anyway, but yeah. Okay, and the next one, and we need to do this all in one if statement. This is quite important because it's an else if. So if we left it as this and did another if statement in like here, it wouldn't call this all the time. It would only call it when, well, actually RX doesn't matter, so we can actually leave that. But if RX did matter, we'd need to include it in that same if statement. Otherwise, the else would never be called. It would just be this. But for the moment, that works. So these are now acting as our buttons. So we could just, I don't know, put here. Let's just. We'll just do something. That's just to represent anything. Box width is not set, so we need to come back over here and find box width, which is 50. In fact, we can probably just change that to 50, which 50 divided by 2 is going to be 25. We could simplify that the whole thing down, but I think for the moment that'll do. Okay, so that's not working. Is it working backwards? No, it's just not working at all. Brilliant. Okay. So what is going on here then? Okay. You'd think that would work, but I mean, we do need to do the mouse button check thing. Just check it's not at the top or the bottom or anywhere. Very odd. Okay. Okay, let's try something else then. Let's just try putting some random numbers in. So let's say between 500 and 600. Or let's just leave that as view hport and see what happens. Because that should work for at least some area. I'm not sure where. Okay, so that's not working. Let's make this bigger, I guess. And then that shouldn't affect it if it's that big. You know, it shouldn't be. Okay. Okay, so that is working. The likelihood is then it's something here that's the problem. Let's here show a debug message. Very useful in this case because we're not necessarily pressing the button here. So if we change this to 500, well that's 5,000. Right now, get rid of that and run it at 500. It should print down the bottom whenever we just hover over. It's a bit hard to tell with this, but okay, let's change that to be mouse button press because we're going to need this anyway at some point. So let's chuck that in there. Make it a little bit easier to check as well when it's actually coming up. So the first thing we can do is check right up in this corner. Okay, so that's not working all that way up in that corner. So the likelihood is it's not right. 500 is not right. Okay. So let's try 700. That's 7. That's definitely not going to work. We need to find the point which it starts working and why the other isn't working. Okay. So all the way up there, that's still. All the way down there, it is still. Oh, it's not scrolling. That's why. Yep. Okay, that's still doing all of it. Let's just check here what our hport actually is. It might be that it's not quite right. 800. So in theory, 700 should pick us up 100 off the bottom, but maybe not. The script is between 700 and let's just change this to be 800. And here, let's show our mouse Y coordinates instead. Hopefully that should give us something. See, 101, you know, they're definitely not between those numbers. That's really weird. Yeah, they're most definitely not between those numbers. So I'm not sure why it's coming out as true. Maybe it's a problem with our script is between. Okay, let's ditch the script and let's just do it our own way. So let's say else if mouse Y is greater than 700 and mouse Y is less than 800. So that should do the same as what we did before, almost. That should, yeah, okay, that's letting us do it now. Again, it's not working at the bottom because I'm not sure that's quite right. but let's try now. I realised as well that 700 and 800 won't be right. This would probably be... We should probably convert them to be like actual GUI mouse coordinates. I think you can do that in this quite easily, but I'm not sure. Because the problem here is if we move down here a bit, you see that's now not in the range. Or it is in the range. Whoa, what? Oh dear. That's weird. Yeah, we probably need to think about that. Okay, let's leave this for the time being. And I'll run some tests and see where we get to with that. I don't feel like we've got very far with this. So, what I'm gonna do, I think it's something like display. Display mouse get X, maybe. I'd like to check that though, because there used to be in 1.6 there used to be a really long like bit of code to convert it. I think then in GameMaker in 2.0 they've added a new thing that does it. So yeah, let's try this. I think this might be the one that I was on about. Yeah, let's try it here. Okay, true. Let's try that and see if that lines up with what we should have. Device 0, I guess. I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but okay. So you can see there, that's kind of... Yeah, let's do an RX. I think, so if we go over here, it should be... Okay, it's a bit more than 800. Let's, oh no, let's do the Y. Let's do the Y, okay. The Y should go up to 800, I think. Aha. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So let's take that instead. That bit. I feel like we need to get something done. Let's put that in there, and in there, let's take our Y1, which was this. Okay, and paste that instead of 100. Let's take this and put that over the mouse Y again, and let's take that and put it over the 200. And this should do what I was trying to explain earlier, but this time with the proper GUI coordinates. So now we should see the debug message when we hit those bottom bits. It's still not set, it's still 50. So it's still 25. Okay, let's give that a go now. Hopefully this works. Okay, yep, so that bottom bit, and then it stops there. You see there? That's kind of the cutoff point. Aha, yeah, that's exactly what we want actually. So now when we highlight these and we press there, you see it doesn't go off. So that's actually working pretty well, I think. And then hopefully if we move down here, this area, yeah, this area is now still usable, which before it wasn't, but we've converted it to be GUI mouse coordinates, which only depend on the, they don't depend on the room itself, they depend on where it is on the top layer. So we can get rid of this, or we'll leave it for the time being. In the next video, we'll do proper unit separation and work through that. And then I think we should be pretty much done with the unit separation after that. We took a long time on this, but anyway. That's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, what you guys want to do, and I'll talk to you in the next one.